All right, good afternoon, Michael.
Good afternoon.
My name's Cameron.
Hi,
I'm going to be
Cameron.
interviewing you today with the Denham Family Health Model, just getting a good general idea of your family. So I think a good start to that would be, what makes up your internal family?
What makes up my internal family? I would certainly say it'd have to be my father, Tom, my mother, Tammy, and my siblings, which would be Andy, Tyler, Brittany, and myself.
Awesome. And how about your extended family? How far does that go?
My extended family, on my dad's side, I have one aunt and two uncles. And on my mom's side, I have two aunts and three uncles.
Great.
And my grandparents, obviously, on both sides.
Of course. How do you find yourself interacting with them?
Interacting with them, before my grandparents passed away on my dad's side, we always got together, whether it's holidays or summer days, I should say, when we had fish fries or just get together and hang out and stuff like that. But ever since my grandparents passed away on my dad's side, we don't really get together all that much.
Okay.
On my mom's side, might happen maybe a couple times out of the year that we get together.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. In regards to your internal family then, with your siblings and your parents, could you describe each of the members just with a few words, or how they do their part to make up the family?
My mom is the ultimate caregiver. She's has feelings and emotions and has just always been there for support. I'd say my dad, he's hardworking gentleman. He's always on the move, always doing something, never gives himself a break. My older brother, I look up to him as like a best friend. I've always looked up to him as a role model. He's influenced me a lot on things, what to do and what not to do. My two siblings, knowing that we're triplets, we're pretty close to each other too, in the fact that we are the same age, so we can always relate to a lot of the things. And so I'd say that probably sums up my family, my internal family there.
Awesome. Well, now that we have the words to describe each separate member, how would you describe your whole family as a whole? Maybe a couple words, or...
If I had to describe my family as a whole, I'd say we are respectful and outgoing.
Great.
I would say that. That's just the type of things that my family likes to do when we're all together, is to go out, and we always respect each other's space and stuff like that.
Do you think your family is healthy in regards to, physical, spiritual, mental, in those aspects?
I'd say spiritually, my mother's pretty healthy in that aspect, along with my dad. They go to church every Sunday. For me and my two brothers, we are always healthy. We love to work out, love to run. And I'd say my sister, she's pretty healthy too. I mean, she eats well and stuff like that. She might not be there on the physical side, but she definitely watches herself and maintains healthy.
Okay. How do you find your family members interacting internally then?
My family, depending where we all are, my brother has moved out of the house. He is married. During the summer times, my sister and my brother Tyler are back at home, however, so they can always interact, communicating face-to-face. For me, however, I'm here at school in Mankato, so the best way for them to communicate with me is through a phone call. And same with my older brother, I communicate with them through phone calls. Unless I somehow go home and we all get together, then we communicate that way.
Well, great. I feel that is a wonderful understanding of the internal structures of your family. Now moving more outward, looking in, where does your family live? In what city?
My family lives in Chaska, Minnesota.
Okay.
So it's about an hour away from here in Mankato, towards the cities.
How about your siblings?
Tyler and Brittany and I, or my sister, however, just finished college, so she's actually back at home in Chaska.
Okay.
Tyler and I are here in Mankato for school, but he's obviously back at home for Chaska too during the summertime, and that's where I usually go to.
Okay.
And then my older brother, since he is married, he lives out in Apple Valley.
Okay. How would you describe Chaska then, the kind of the community and environment you grew up in?
I'd say it's a great community. It's not too big, not too small. It is developing. It's a developing community. They're always building new structures and stuff like that. It's just an overall good environment to be around.
Has you found that it's changed at all since you've left for college in the last 4 years?
No, I don't feel like anything has changed. Every time I come home, it's just the place I call home, and it's just what I'm used to growing up, and I love it. So
Awesome. What year were you born?
I was born in May 16th, 1990.
Okay. Looking at your social background, who would you say makes up your social circle?
My social circle is definitely my friends. They've always been there for me, and it's just who I communicate the most, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
I would say my family is part of it as well, because I like to stay in touch with them the best that I can. Another would be probably this girl I'm seeing. Been hanging with her quite a bit, and she's always been there for support as well. And so I'd say that probably makes up my social circle. And I must say I'd include probably our nursing class.
Community, of course.
We've all been getting really close to each other from the start of this semester, and so it's been a great time so far.
It's certainly something I would add. Do you have different groups of friends that you spend more time with or less time with, or they've changed?
I would say no. I do, however, have a couple good friends of mine back in my hometown who actually go to school here in Mankato, so I've always been with them. Mm-hmm. And then the group of guys that I have met here at college, we're all like one group of friends. Mm-hmm. So,
well, great. Could you describe to me the house you grew up in?
The house I grew up in, it's a 2-level house. There is 5 bedrooms.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'd say 6 bedrooms. Sorry, I take that back. 6 bedrooms, 2 bath. It's not a real big house, but it's not a small house. It's enough just for my family.
Mm-hmm.
It has adequate space. Has a nice, beautiful front yard, backyard.
Do you feel safe in the neighborhood that house is in?
I feel completely safe in my neighborhood.
Great. What makes you feel that way?
I've lived there my whole entire life. My family does not plan on moving anywhere. They love where they live. They feel safe as well.
Mm-hmm.
Got great neighbors, stuff like that.
Great. In regards to your community, how accessible are things like hospitals, clinics, stores to get food?
Very accessible. Grocery stores probably like no more than 5 minutes away from my house. They just finished building the 212 Medical Center a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That's about 1 mile from my house. So I mean, everything's there.
Great. And with your community, how involved did you say yourself or your family is?
I wouldn't say we're too involved in the community. However, like I told you before, my mother does attend church every Sunday, and she is there on Wednesdays. She is on the worship team, so she sings. Mm-hmm. My dad will, however, do some gardening stuff for our church if they need him to do that. For me, I'm not too involved. Either is my siblings. However, I do work out at Snap Fitness, so I do consider that as like a part of a community aspect in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd say that's about it.
Great. Are you currently employed right now?
I am not.
Okay. What about your parents?
My parents, my dad works for Bachman's,
Mm-hmm.
And my mother works for Chanhassen High School as a secretary.
Do you find that their work hours have an effect on the family, or?
I'd say sometimes my dad, just because sometimes like during the summertime is when he's working 6 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
But that Saturday is usually like a half day, so he gets done around noon. My mother, since she works during the school, she gets done when school's out,
Mm-hmm.
so that's not a factor. But I'd say overall it's decent. It's not too overwhelming or anything like that.
Certainly. Moving back to relationships again, how strong are the relationships between you and your extended family?
I'd say growing up, everything was pretty strong, pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
My dad's side, I'd say things have gotten a lot weaker just because we don't get together anymore because of my grandparents passing away. It's just hard to coordinate something because my uncle lives out in California, my aunt lives in Texas, so it's kind of hard to really get together there. However, my other uncle on my dad's side does live in Carver, so that's not too far. So if anything, we see him all the time.
Mm-hmm.
On my mom's side, one of her brothers and sister kind of got into
Falling out,
I would say, and so it's hard to get all of us together in that aspect because those two don't talk anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But I do see my uncle on my mom's side quite a bit.
Okay, so it sounds like that differs then between relationships with your friends and internal family?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. How would you describe coworkers? I already answered that question.
My dad has a great bond with his coworkers. I mean, he's been at Bachman's for, I think he's been there since he was 22, and he's 55 now. So he's been there for quite some time. Loves his job. My mom works in an office with like 5 or 6 other individuals, and her her bonds with them are pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Well, great. Can you describe the culture that is found within your family?
We don't have a real strong culture, I would say. However, we do celebrate Christmas and Easter and Thanksgiving and stuff like
Common
that.
traditions, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever moved in your life?
I have not moved in my life.
Okay. Other than coming to college, I understand.
Yep.
Okay. And we talked earlier about your grandparents' death. Would that be you'd say the most influential death of a family member that you've experienced?
Certainly. My grandparents on my dad's side had a farm, and so growing up, they took us there every time we went to their house, showed us around, take care of the animals, stuff like that. And just for them to be gone now and not have that access to do stuff like that anymore, it's just a real eye-opener of what life can offer and what life is all about. So,
how would you find that your family members care for one another?
My mom is the ultimate person for that, I would say. She can always tell when something's wrong. She'll ask me about it. She'll ask my siblings about it. She'll want to talk about it if you're comfortable enough to talk about it. My dad, on the other hand, he kind of notices stuff about being stressful with school. Always tells me to keep my head up. And my siblings are always there for me too. I do the same thing for them. For instance, if Tyler or my sister didn't do so well in an exam, I'd say, hey, you'll do it next time, you'll do better, just keep your head up about it and move forward. That's about as much as you can do. So I'd say we're all, overall, pretty well-rounded, caring family for each other.
Do you feel that you have a stronger bond with a certain family member and a weaker bond with another?
I certainly feel like I have a stronger bond with my two brothers. I don't know if that has to do with just being gentlemen and doing guy things, because we always do fishing, work out together. We started doing the Warrior Dash, which is an event once a year. My sister, however, I just feel like I have a way weaker bond with her.
Yeah.
She's just, her being a girl and her doing girl things, I just don't interact with her as much as I do with my siblings.
Are you still in communication with all your siblings?
Yes, I am, all the time.
What is the best way for that right now?
My family, we chat on the phone. My siblings, we usually text message. My older brother usually makes phone calls. He's not all into that whole texting thing, but Tyler and Brittany, certainly we text each other all the time.
Yeah. Do you think this is adequate to your needs and their needs?
Very adequate.
Great. What does your family celebrate together? I know you talked about the traditions that you had. Is there any other big celebrations?
I'd say birthdays. Maybe another thing too, I just remember when my older brother graduated, we celebrated. High school graduation, we celebrated that, along with college as well.
Yeah.
So just kind of those minor things, but...
Was that a pretty big celebration when all three of you had graduated?
From high school?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was big.
What does your family consider to be family time? And how do you guys...
family time? Like I told you before, my family is very outgoing. Usually, if I come home from Mankato, my family would like to try and go out, get a bite to eat, or go get some drinks together. Say usually the weekends are probably more of a family time than they are during the week, just because my parents are busy with work. Same with my siblings, they're working too, so it's just always hard to get together unless it's the weekend. So I consider the weekend probably more of a family time.
Cool. Well, changing wheels here. Now we're going to be more focusing on yourself separately instead of the whole